The Great American Dust Bowl by Don Brown. A speck of dust is a tiny thing. 5 of them could fit on the period at the end of a sentence. Oh my God, here it comes! On a clear, warm Sunday, April 14th, 1935, a wild wind whipped up billions upon billions of specks of dust to form a savage storm on America's plains. Panicked birds and rabbits fled. The temperature plummeted 50 degrees. Electricity coursed through the air. Frightened people raced to the nearest shelter. But the story of the Black Sunday monster started much, much earlier. $60 to 100 million years ago, the Rocky Mountains in North America were born. Immense sections of the Earth's surface called plates, slowly riding currents of hot, soft rock swimming beneath them met. One plate slid beneath the other in a process called subduction. The lower plate, along with great forces within the Earth, lifted the upper plate. The Rockies were born. To the east of the new mountains lay a huge shallow sea. In time, it dried up, and its flat seafloor became a flat plain. The plain, which stretches eastward to the Mississippi River, is one of the most level places on Earth, and the plain behind it rose thousands of feet above sea level. The plain bordering the Rockies, despite its flatness, is still more than 1,000 feet above sea level. It is a dry place. It receives no more than 20 inches of rain and snow a year, about half of what Georgia, Maine, or Oregon gets. It's too little rain to grow trees, but enough to grow grass. Eventually, the plains were carpeted with it. Bison found the grass. Herds grew until there were tens of millions of bison. American Indians found the bison and made them the center of their culture, using them for food, clothing, and shelter. The Indians, the buffalo, the land, and the weather existed in a balance for more than 1,000 years. Pioneers from the settled eastern United States came to the plains in the 19th century. By 1876, they had pushed the Indians into reservations and slaughtered millions of bison. Ranchers and cattle replaced the Indians and buffalo. Ranchers were sure that the immensity of grass that had supported the bison would sustain cattle. In the southern plains, nearly 800 miles of barbed wire fence penned in about 150,000 head of a cattle. But cattle lacked the sturdiness of bison, and the summer heat and winter blizzards wiped them out. Riches in the soil, prosperity in the air, progress everywhere. The ranchers' hard luck didn't darken the sales pitch when they decided to unload the land. Farmers bought, somehow overlooking that the pledges of wealth came from the failed ranchers. From sawed houses, crude shacks, and dugout earthen homes, farmers worked the land. It was nothing to get up at 4 o'clock or so of a morning, but we went to bed with the chickens at sundown. There wasn't much time for fun. Despite their sweat and high hopes, the farmers were only able to scratch out a meager livelihood from the tough land and hard weather. Then international tragedy delivered riches. The bloody First World War of 1914 to 1918 wrecked much of Europe, including its farming. Many people had a terrible time getting food. A hungry world became an eager market, and the price of wheat jumped. Seeing the profit in it, farmers on the southern plains upturned millions of acres of grassland and sowed the pricey grain. Plowing all those acres was made easier as the farmers traded their horses for tractors. A tractor took 3 hours to do the work for which a team of horses needed 58 hours. Suddenly, farmers enjoyed a bounty that had escaped earlier. One from Kansas claimed a year's profit of $75,000, more money than the president in Washington had made. Then the war ended. Life and farming returned to normal for much of the world, and the demand for American food fell. Where once a bushel of wheat earned a farmer $2, it now fetched $1. Seeing their income cut in half, the farmers tried to correct the loss by growing twice as much. More sod was broken and planted in wheat, but eventually the additional grain couldn't find enough buyers and prices collapsed. It was like somebody just shut the door on our lives. As wheat's value crashed, the Great Depression struck the American economy. In 1929, nearly a quarter of the country was without jobs and money. Grain silos burst with unwanted wheat, and a bushel dropped to 34 cents, and then 24 cents, less than it had cost the farmer to plant and harvest it. Southern Plains growers slipped into poverty with the rest of the nation. In 1931, the rain stopped and the misery of the Southern Plains deepened. The drought tortured the land, evaporating the moisture in the soil. You could have dug a 3-foot hole and not found a drop of water. Neither grass nor wheat could hold the dry, pulverized earth together. When the wind blew, dust storms followed. People survived on the small amount of water they could pump from the ground.